Okay, in the video I watched of obesity versus a positive body image, it was about um, four participants in a discussion: Pierce Morgan, his co-host, a Dr. Miriam, I believe, and a plus-size model. And they were talking about the topic of how plus-size models are perceived on these upcoming new magazines. And Pierce Morgan took his stance on saying that obesity is unhealthy and that these plus-size people need to go to the doctor and lose weight because they're promoting unhealthy lifestyles to people who see the magazines. Whereas the plus-size model argued that it's a good thing that these plus-size people are on these magazines, that they're being shown to other plus-size people, and that it's not just skinny models anymore on these covers. That since plus-size people do exist, it's a good, positive thing that they're being shown in these like big tabloids. The doctor argued that yes, while fat is dangerous and that it is unhealthy and that fat isn't normal, it's still a good thing that these plus-size people are being included in these big-time magazines, that it creates a positive, healthy body image for other people who see these magazines and they say, wow, their body type is just like mine, that's amazing. Her body type is my body type, and her body type is on a magazine. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Pierce Morgan did his argument by he would raise his voice over the women, trying to get his point across. So he wouldn't listen to what they were trying to say. He was trying to bash into their minds that no, what I'm saying is right, that obesity is unhealthy, and that these plus-size people should not be on magazines, that they needed to go to the doctor and lose weight. That's what he was saying. Whereas the women would just sit there and listen to what he was saying, what he was screaming and shouting over with his excessive hand movements. They would just counter his argument by saying, no, it's a good thing that these people are on these magazines, that their body images are being praised, that they're being finally shown off to the world. So Pierce Morgan would disagree with their answers, and he wouldn't try to hear their side of their issues. Whereas the women would listen and take it in what he was saying, but they would just counter their argument with their belief. So he wasn't using any of the critical thinking things. He wasn't using the sponge. He wasn't absorbing what they were saying. He was just saying, no, this is what I think. Whereas the women were using the sponge technique. They were absorbing what he was saying, and then they would just counter their argument. So Pierce Morgan was trying to say that he was right, that they were wrong, whereas the women would be like, okay, yes, I see where you're coming from, however, and then they would say theirs. Like, for instance, in the discussion, Pierce Morgan said something about how they should go to the doctor and lose weight, whereas the plus-size model was saying, no, it's a good positive image for these plus-size people to be on the covers of magazines, because another plus-size girl or boy would see that magazine and be like, wow, one day that could be me, like, because it's their body type. And the plus-size model said that's a good thing, whereas Pierce Morgan was like, no, they need to lose weight. So Pierce Morgan was not using any of the techniques, whereas the women was using the sponge absorbing technique. And Pierce Morgan was trying to not gain a better understanding for their other position. He was trying to come out of the discussion as my side is right, whereas their side is not okay. So